stand here. I am Dina Holiday Ingram, the mayor of the great city of East Point. And on behalf of the East Point City Council, city staff, and most importantly, the almost 36,000 residents who live in the city of
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
It's always good to be in the presence of my dear friend Rashad. I'm grateful for him. You know someone is a really good friend when you show up to do one interview and you are lost in the building. You don't know exactly where you're supposed to be. And when you show up at the spot, the person that lets you in is Rashad. I was like, thanks be to God right now. And you know, it is important to know. I tell people this often, politics is lonely. Finding real friends in this is difficult. Y'all know what I'm talking about for anyone that's been in this space. And so it's great to be in his presence, and I'm grateful for you, especially in this environment. You know, see, I'm out of New York and I'm out of DC, so I can be even more direct. Yeah. When you listen to this foolishness of folks talking about fake news, it is so critical to have voices that are out there in the media that are educating people about what's going on. And so, can we just put our hands together for Rashad right now? I'm a preacher, so I like the microphone closer to me now.
All right, now don't preach.
We're going to have some fun today. I told folks I didn't come to mess around. I ain't come this far for some casual conversation on tonight. I bring you greetings from my home church, Calvary United Methodist Church in the Bronx, New York, Allen Chapel AME in Washington, D.C. Before any of all this, I am and will always be a man of God and a child of God, and that's what we are here to do on tonight. Too often Democrats don't want to talk about their faith. You have to be real clear about this. I have joy engaging with folks on the other side when they want to have a conversation about values. I'm happy to have a conversation about values. Jesus was a refugee. Jesus was an immigrant. Jesus was a prisoner. Sometimes people need to understand this. Don't just be talking to me about one or two issues if you don't understand the book. Don't be selective with scripture right now. Don't get me going. I just arrived. I just arrived. We just got going on tonight. To my dear friend Rodney, who was the one that invited me to come on down, I'm grateful for you. You've been consistent in your friendship and in your support. I appreciate you immensely, and I don't take our friendship for granted. And I thank you for constantly being present for all that you do.
That's right.
And always having my back all the time. Also to your chair, to Chair Hurd Tucker, to your former chair Pines and Shunior. Please forgive me if I mispronounced that. Say again. It was perfect. All right now. All right, we out here. We 3 for 3 so far right now. So to all of our public servants that are here, thank you for your service. For the people that are going to be running for office, thank you for your service in advance. We are proud of you. For everybody that is here in the space, I'm grateful for you being in the space on tonight and allowing us to be able to engage with you in this way. Before I begin, I ask that we pause for a moment, because what happened on yesterday should make all of us realize nothing is guaranteed, nothing is promised. We should never be in a space where a child has any concern going to school. And I had folks that were quiet throughout the day, and the reality is this is exactly when you need prayer even more. So if we can just bow our heads and do a moment of silence for those that lost their lives and those whose lives are changed forever because what happened in Florida on yesterday. Amen.
Amen.
I'm always amazed when I hear from the other side when they say we shouldn't be talking about policy. Well, when not? Yeah, exactly. It's not during these kinds of moments right here and right now. Let's be real clear. That would not occur if we would stop this foolishness of people having AR-15s and assault rifles. There is no reason at all that someone should have an assault rifle in any aspect. We have to be clear about this in this aspect. So for those that I'm getting the chance to meet for the first time, my name is Michael Alexander Blake. I bring you greetings from the Bronx, New York, the home of hip-hop, just so there's no confusion about that right now. I know. Okay, let's be clear. Hip-hop, the roots of hip-hop actually came from Jamaica. We really want to take it there. Be clear about that, and then it extended north to Cedric Avenue in the Bronx. Other folks can talk about it, that's fine. No, that's fine. I mean, you can have your own alternative facts. I'm just focused on the truth right here of where it all began. But again, let's not get focused on that. We can talk about that on V103 and everyone else, WLK, or later on. Well, that'll be a speech for another day. I come to you as the youngest of four boys. My oldest brother, who is on his way right now. He just retired after 29 years of service in the U.S. Army as a sergeant first class.
Awesome.
Where part of his time was spent here in Georgia. He was at Fort Benning for some time. Was up in Columbus, and then was at Fort Drum up in New York, uptown, in Watertown. And spent time all over the country, and so grateful for him itself. My mama, she worked for 40 years at a manufacturing plant in Englewood, New Jersey. Would wake up and take two buses first thing in the morning to give us a chance and put food on the table. She is a breast cancer survivor. She has been consistent in the labor in the vineyard and has done her work. My daddy, for 28 years, mopped hospital room floors at St. Barnabas Hospital in the Bronx, New York, 1199 SCIU. And we come from a household of labor. We respect our sisters and brothers in the movement of labor. And even if you don't come from a labor background yourself, just realize this: you have a weekend, you have better wages, you have better opportunities because of what labor did for us years ago. And never forget that right now. When you have a Supreme Court that's trying to attack labor and attack collective bargaining, we all should be standing up for our sisters and brothers of labor, no matter where you come from right now.
Exactly.
I come to you when we are in a space where too many of us are still talking about, thinking about, spending too much energy reflecting on what happened in November of 2016. You see, you can decide to just focus on what happened on that day, or what you can do is decide that we are going to turn our pain into promise. We're going to turn our anger into action. We're going to move forward in a different way. For my people of faith that are here in the room, you can decide if you will just focus on Good Friday or you're going to focus on the resurrection. We have to ask ourselves right now, in the year 2018, the year that is the 150th anniversary of the birth of W.E.B. Du Bois, the year that is the 50th anniversary of Dr. King being called on home and Bobby Kennedy being taken from us as well. We have to ask ourselves, in 2018, the year that millennials are the largest voting bloc in this country for the first time, when baby boomers were the largest voting bloc starting in 1977, before that the greatest generation. We have to ask ourselves, in 2018, are we focused and deciding to rise? That has to be our question right now. Are we determined and being clear about our purpose and why we are here? We don't have the time right now to keep asking ourselves about what happened, because folks need you to fight for them right now. They don't have time for us to keep talking about some tweet. I don't care about a tweet. I need people to lead right now. I'm not worried about what he said or what he didn't say. I'm worried about what they're going to do. See, we can't be here in Georgia and not understand the impact of what Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said in many different aspects. Now, sometimes folks want to sanitize his history. I want to be real clear. He was focused on the end of his life on poor people and the Poor People's Campaign and addressing poverty and standing up for giving people a chance when they otherwise didn't have a chance. Now, there are many things people can talk about with Dr. King. Yes, you can tell me about it. I have a dream. I welcome that. I embrace that. We should. But let us not forget something that he said that should truly stay with us. He said, in the end, we will not be remembered by the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And right now, too many of our friends are silent. Maybe I have just one or two up in here right now. Folks are being silent when it comes to the fight that we have right now. Now that means that folks will come after different aspects that may not be connected to you, but you still have to fight for them. So men in the room, you don't have to be a woman to say you reject misogynistic behavior. You have to be real clear in what's going on right now. When we have the conversations around Me Too and Time's Up, stand up and be clear that it is wrong. Don't be silent when sexual harassment exists in our communities. Be clear that it is wrong and we don't welcome it in this house at all times. Don't just say that we're going to reject Roy Moore in Alabama because he was a pedophile, which he is. Make sure you be clear about Donald Trump and every single other person that's out there. And that means that if someone is harassing women, don't just be silent if it's a Democrat.
All right.
Yeah. Wrong is wrong. Wherever it may be. Be silent no more.
All right.
When it comes to what's going on in the black community, I tell folks often, don't be confused when people try to play this game.
Yeah.
See, Colin Kaepernick wasn't taking a knee because he disrespected the flag and disrespected the country. He was taking a knee because he is sick and damn tired of black and brown folk being shot and killed by cops and nothing happening. That's why he took a knee. And if we can't be clear about that, then what's the purpose of us being here right now? If you can't speak up for folks being shot and killed and nothing happening, why are we here? Be silent no more. Be silent no more, Fulton County Democrats, when it comes to what's going on in all respective communities. That means when they come with an unconstitutional Muslim ban against Muslims, you should be angry and upset about that. That means when they come with a racist wall they want to propose against our Latino brothers and sisters, you should be upset about that. When they go after the gay community, be upset about that. When they go after people with disabilities, be upset about that. No matter who it is, stand up and say we won't be silent anymore. Rise up and say that we won't focus any longer on 2016 because we have work to do in 2018. Being silent no more. Now, when you really want to talk about what's going on, we have to be clear about our values as Democrats. See, I don't need you to keep telling me Trump is bad. I know he's a damn fool. I'm clear about that. We have to tell people why we're good. You have to tell people and encourage people and inspire them about why they should vote for Democrats. Be excited about this. We are the ones that are fighting for opportunity for everybody while they fight for just the 1%. We're the ones saying that everyone should have access to health care when they're trying to take it away. We are the ones that say we reject anything when it comes to walls. Be clear about who we are and fight for this. How dare they decide they want to come up in your state senate on today and try to carve a new city out just because black folk are starting to have their position right here. Be clear about who we are. Be silent no more. And let's make sure we're standing up for all of our communities. See, if I can take it there, you probably picked up by now. I'm a preacher. You probably picked up on that by now, right? Now, we have to remind people when it comes to our values, the values that are a part of who we are. See, if you really read the scripture, what happened to Mary and Joseph, it didn't say that there was no vacancy at all. It actually did not say that. It said there was no vacancy and no room for them.
Yeah, that's what it says.
That's what it actually said. Sometimes we want to have our own history and what the word is actually saying. So what are you saying right now? Too often we are trying to block out the for them. But we are here to fight for them. That is why you're here right now. We are here because when you are assessing who's supposed to make it and who will make it, you are being assessed by what did you do to serve the least of these. The question is, what did you do for them? Did you stand up for them when it wasn't easy? Did you stand up when the cameras were gone? Did you stand up when it wasn't about the press release? Did you stand up when you weren't going to be reelected? Did you stand up because it was the right thing to do at the right time? Did you fight in the right place? That's why you're here, to rise again for them right now. Be silent no more. You have to ask yourself, why am I here? Why do I do this? Why am I a part of this moment right now? Well, I'm here in 2018 with a purpose that we have to have a new vision in the Democratic Party. See, we've been real clear about this. We can't just talk about the White House because we're missing the conversation. We have to be engaged all of the time. That means folks have to vote all of the time. You can't just show up when Barack Obama's there. Newsflash, he's not president anymore. Now we have to be focused all of the time. That means elect folks to the state house, and the state senate, and the city council, and the school board, and the county official races, and the prosecutor, and the DA. Be engaged all of the time. Don't just talk to me about the midterms. Folks need you right now to fight for them. That's why our new vision at the DNC is every zip code counts. Our new motto at the DNC is electing Democrats from the school board to the Oval Office. You have to be clear about your purpose. Your purpose and your objective has to be abundantly clear right about now. The 24 seats that we have to pick up in Congress. Why do I know we can do this? Because we've done this before. Why am I so concerned about what's going on? Some would say, because we've overcome much worse.
That's right. That's right.
I can't understand this. If you come from the Jewish faith and you overcame what happened in the Holocaust, if you come from the black community, we've overcome Jim Crow and slavery. If you overcome those things in the Latino community where they're attacking you in every aspect, for women who have been dealing with misogyny for decades and centuries, I'm not worried about a Trump. I serve a savior. So we have to be focused on what are we doing to say we can be silent no more. These are the elections that matter. These are the ones that call us at this time. We have to be clear about what's going on. Now, you have a gubernatorial race that's happening, AG races, all these races up and down the ballot. I respect that. I receive that. But I want for you to realize that we as Democrats don't have the luxury to keep bickering with each other any longer. We don't have the time for that. Stop telling me about your credentials and the litmus test that you want to pass. Stop telling me that you are an Obama Democrat or a Hillary Democrat or a Bernie Democrat. I could care less about that. We lost in 2016. Now we have to be focused. We have to be a united Democratic Party. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to agree on all the same things and attack them in all the same ways. But what I am saying is I'd rather fight with someone that I agree with 80% of the time than deal with someone I disagree with 90% of the time. It has to be clear about why are we here right now? What is the purpose of us being here if we're not fighting for people? And I'm real clear about this. When you have moments like yesterday is another reminder that elections matter. How dare Donald Trump, who is someone that I know very well from New York, don't be confused about who this is. When you have a racist, sexist, misogynistic demagogue in the White House, call it out for who it is. And he's not by himself. Him, Pence, McConnell, Ryan, Jefferson, Bogart, Sessions, every single one of them, call them out for who they are and the track record that they've had. They didn't just show up to this. This is who they've been for decades. I'm not confused about what they're doing right now, but what I'm going to say is I'm not just going to be angry on the sideline and tweet about it and post it on Facebook. I'm going to knock on more doors. I'm going to make more phone calls. I'm going to find a way to fight more because we can be silent no more. Well, what's at stake right here? I had the honor of working with the 44th President Barack Obama for close to 7 years. I saw what it was like to be around a visionary person that would take you to higher heights. Someone that when you were around him, you knew that something greater was in his possession because he had been called by someone greater. And it wasn't just him. When you were around First Lady Michelle Obama, you knew that there was grace and distinction and class and all that happened. When you saw Malia and Sasha, you saw what's possible when you invest in the family. But it matters by all those that were around. But what matters now is the next generation. See, King didn't want you to talk about a promised land and just leave it back there. Remember, why was he in Memphis in the first place? He was in Memphis because on February 11th of 1968, they decided to go on strike because they were sick and tired of being literally sick and tired of all that was happening in respective communities. And think about this. They just wanted $1 more for their work. That's all they were trying to fight for. And what did it take? It takes for folks to stop and realize what was going on. But the reality is this. He was in Memphis saying we have more work to do. And I may not get there with you, but you can keep going. So that means that, yes, we've had our opportunity to have the first black president. I respect that. I'm excited about that. But don't forget what we did in 2017. That's right. When folks were making it seem like there wasn't a new vision in the Democratic Party and why that can and will come to Fulton County in 2018. They told us that we couldn't win in Virginia last year. They kept saying it wouldn't be possible to take and keep going in Virginia. I was battling with folks on Fox every single week when they were telling me that they were going to win that seat. Well, Ralph Northam was elected governor, and Justin Fairfax was elected lieutenant governor. Mark Herron was re-elected as the attorney general. We picked up 15 seats, including the first and second Latina delegates ever in our history. And let's be clear in Virginia. Let's be clear about this. We should have tied in Virginia, but they literally found a ballot after the fact to then make a tie and then had a coin flip to take it away. Don't ever let someone tell you elections don't matter. But it showed what's possible when we invested in Virginia. They didn't think it could be possible to turn things around in New Jersey. But now we can give Chris Christie the longest vacation he ever wanted on the beach that he ever wanted. Because now Phil Murphy's been elected governor and Sheila Oliver's been elected the first black and first female lieutenant governor in New Jersey history. It shows you what's possible when you invest and organize on the ground to be silent no more. It shows you what's possible when you go to New Jersey and have the first Sikh mayor they elected in Hoboken. It shows you what's possible when you go to the state of Washington and Monica Dingra being elected as a South Asian woman to take back the state senate in the state of Washington, where you also have the first openly gay mayor out there in Seattle, first woman mayor since 1950. It shows you what's possible when you put in the work, and you know what's possible here in Georgia. See, in 2017, you saw what could happen yet again when we follow and understand what happens when black women take in charge and engage. See, you win multiple places around the country. It showed you what's going on in Charlotte when Val Lyles was elected there. And when they were trying to make it seem it couldn't be possible, when all things were trying to put in her way, now you can't just call her a city council member no more. Now you got to call her Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. Don't be worried about the stumbling block folks put before you. That's just preparing you for victory. You want a scripture for another day to make sure, and a sermon for another day, go find you Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the present present sufferings of this time are not worthy to be compared to the future glory about to be revealed to us. I'm not afraid of a test because I need a test before my testimony. That's why I'm excited about what's going on. You have to understand that I'm here to say my block won't block my blessing. My zip code won't deny my destiny. That's why you have to be here to be silent no more. You have to be clear in saying we're fighting for something bigger than we've seen before. So bring it here in 2018 when folks are trying to make it seem like it's not possible. And whenever they think it's too hard, look at Alabama. They want to make it seem like things are not possible. Things are possible when we come together as Democrats and fight together. They tried to say that Doug Jones wasn't going to win that race. Let me be clear about this. Doug Jones is a remarkable human being. Someone that I had the honor of campaigning with multiple times. And let me be real clear and set the record straight about one thing. It was not Doug Jones's team that went after the KKK. It wasn't his team that went after those bombers of the Church Street bomb. It was Doug Jones himself. Now just process this. A white man in Alabama who said this is wrong. And we're going to go after those that went and bombed this church and killed these little girls. What had to come upon his family to go through that? To decide, I want to run, I want to take back this United States Senate seat and make things happen here. And because we were focused, and we weren't focused on the little things. Because, y'all heard me right now, we were focused and not focused on the little things. What are the little things? Little things are, you worry too much about who looks good on your church pew. The little things mean that you're worried about who is mentioned in that press release. You're worried about who is in the right seat, in the right place, at the right table. You're worried about the little things. But if we're focused on what really matters, meaning winning elections for the people.
Yes.
That's why we're here. So 2018 is going to be a remarkable year. It's a year where you can see what's possible. It's a year where we take back what is in our own hands of destiny. A year where we show people when we organize, we win. When we mobilize, when we win. When we fight together, we win. Stand up for the causes that we believe in. Tell people that we're going to keep fighting on health care every single day. Whenever someone tries to attack it, reject that and push back and be silent no more. Tell them that we reject this nonsense of them trying to kick out dreamers from this country. Maybe they seem to have forgotten the truth about how this all began. Let me give President Trump a history lesson. The birth of civilization is Africa. When you talk about shithole countries, you seem to have missed the fact of what's going on. Folks came from Africa and then went on west and ended up in different places. You can't talk about the Dominican Republic and Haiti and separate that. That started as Espanola. It was one country on together. Those are black folk that are on there. Let's realize the true history of that. You come on north and we understand the greatness of who we are as a people. And unless you were Native American or you were enslaved, you are an immigrant here. Sometimes folks miss out on that history. We have to be clear on fighting for this. And stop being silent as Democrats. I'm sick and tired of this. Of folks sitting on the sidelines and making it seem like you talking about a water cooler is enough. It's not enough. What you were doing before, not enough. What made you comfortable, not enough. All these things that were happening before, they are not enough because people need us more than ever right now. There's this guy, I'm sure you heard of him. His name is Reverend Dr. Joseph Lowry. I remember very vividly in 2007 when I was in Iowa, and yes, I am the validation. Brothers do go to Iowa. It does happen, right? when I was there organizing for then U.S. Senator Barack Obama, we were mobilizing and getting ready for the caucus on that year. And I'll never forget that he started to fidget a little bit, and Reverend Lowry said this. He said, I just got an iPhone. My daughter got it for me. Okay, all right. And if I could figure out how to work this phone, I would call up Martin in the grave. And I would say, Martin, look how far we've come. That I could be in Des Moines, Iowa, and on the front page in the newspaper, a black man's about to become president.
Yes, sir.
It puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
When you realize that in order for us to be silent no more, that means we can't do it by ourselves.
That's right.
See, Dr. King gave a remarkable speech on that day, but Dr. King had given I Have a Dream speech about 100 times before that, in many different instances and many different iterations. And yet, because people sometimes sanitize history, they forget what really fully happened on that day. If it wasn't for Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, who said, make sure that he gives the full speech and make sure he speaks last. How dare we cut off the words that he wants to give on that day? If it wasn't for Mahalia Jackson, who said, tell them about the dream, Martin, we don't know what would happen. And if you don't believe that it has impact, 45 years to the day of Dr. King giving the I Have a Dream speech, Barack Obama became the Democratic nominee. So silent no more means that we are all players and parts in this beautiful orchestra of life. Not every single person is going to be the elected official. Not every single person is going to be the one out in the front. But that's okay. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves, yes, we talk about Jesus often as we might, but there were 12 disciples.
Yeah. Wow.
And there were many other parts in the story that were not a part of the discipleship, but they were still engaging in many different ways. I wish I could have a life like Paul.
Wow.
Who could overcome what Paul overcame to be in the space that he ended up being at that moment and at that hour. That means you realize that you are in this room, and maybe you never thought about running for office before. Maybe tonight's your night to step out and not be silent anymore. Maybe you are a lawyer in this room. Well, we need you to engage in voter protection.
Yeah.
Or go help someone at the airport and stand up for them. Maybe you come out of finance and you never thought about being involved in different ways, but maybe you can be that finance director or that fundraiser or be a part of that different cause. Maybe you come out of communications. One of y'all here thinking about running, I can tell right now. Maybe you come out of communications. I have a discerning spirit. I'm real clear about that. Well, maybe you come out of communications and you've never thought about it before, but you can be the press secretary or the communications director. We just need you to be in the game right now.
Yeah.
See, Senator Obama told us this in the first campaign when we had won 12 states in a row. We asked him, why are you not more excited? And he said, I believe in the words of Magic Johnson. I'm not here for conference championships. I'm here for titles. He thought about it at a different way, at a different level. And you have to be focused on why are we here. So 2018 is a year where lives can change for the better if Fulton County is engaged. 2018 is the year that lives are improved for the better if Fulton County is united. 2018 is the year where you can show what's possible and live out new words and new dreams. See, I'm the epitome and showing you what's possible.
Yes.
See, I told you about my mama and my daddy and my life story, my family. My full name is Michael Alexander Blake. I was named after Michael Manley and Alexander Bustamante from Jamaica. Like a good Jamaican, I have multiple jobs. That's what we do right there. My family came on that walk. I was born with a heart murmur. Was in the ICU for close to a month. But thanks be to God, made it, overcome those odds to be here on this day. Fell asleep at the wheel in 2001. And if it wasn't for the hands of God and my luggage that was in the car, I would have gone over the cliff that day. But 6 days before that, I wrote out something that still hangs on my mama's fridge. It said, dear God, may today be my greatest day. Greater than the great day I had a day before, but my goal has not been met unless tomorrow is the greatest of them all. You have to decide that today is your day. And tonight is the night for Fulton County Democrats to go to another level. So I want you to understand that this is the time to be silent no more. 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 And live out the words of our family motto. We went from no house in Jamaica to the black house at Northwestern to the White House in DC
to the State House in Albany. And in the words of the great philosopher Fat Joe, nothing can stop you, you're all the way up.
Another round of applause. Wow. He nailed that. Now, how many of y'all gonna skip Sunday because you already got your word in? Amen. That brother needs to come equipped with a collection plate. Wow.
All right. Oh.
Now, if you haven't figured out you're on the right side of right by now, one more time, y'all. Michael Blake.
All right.
And just real quick acknowledgments. First, I see the Dean of the House who's here. And for Calvin Smyrie, who has had my back for the last 10 plus years, I have to show you love for being my big brother, so thank you.